Justin First, 980. Just a quick question. I saw last month on your profit and loss detail, computer software, like $29,000. This month, deposit on software, $14,600. Is this the same software? And what software is that? I'm kind of curious. I'm pretty up to date in that market, and I'm just curious. Last month it said payroll software and deposit.
That was the Freedom System, so that we can do our payroll in-house.
Okay, so it's the same. Last month said $29,000. That was the total cost, and this is a deposit. Is it being wrote on here twice? Because last month there was a subtraction of $29,000. This month it's $14,000. That's $43,000 to do payroll. Even $29,000 to do payroll. Even $14,000 to do a payroll software program?
It wasn't just payroll. It was a whole new...
It was only listed as payroll.
Well, it was for the whole bookkeeping system. We're getting rid of QuickBooks, what we've had for years. It's a whole new finance system. It's capable, or we will be doing payroll as part of the package that came with it. So it's not that just for payroll.
Is part of it the internet, or the web-page software? We've gone through that, so that we can run payroll.
I think I saw a charge of $30,000.
The last month,
The award,
this is
I never
46 total.
I never knew anything about it, and I voted against it.
I mean, I've seen, defense contracts with, military systems that can kill less than this. I mean, I can write you something with Microsoft Excel for like $500. It will do the same thing. Those of you who know Excel know that can be done.
We tried that. The company did that, and it just, we needed to go back to him all the time for anything we wanted to add. We had to pay him to come out. And we switched to QuickBooks, but that's more of a business, like an amateur software program for this type of operation. So this is specifically set up for municipalities. But like I said, it does payroll as part of it. It's not the whole thing.
Okay. Paul Smith, 158 Locust Street, Blues. Where's the study at with O'Hare Road and 980? We have another action there, Cecil.
Yeah, last we were talking about property acquisition, and we've run into a snag because the property owner does not want to cooperate. So Dan is working with PennDOT trying to find out where we do next.
Vendor or something really bad. Paul.
Is
the fender benders in the shop?
One moment.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is John James. I reside at 1003 Brook Street Court, which is located in Hartwood Farms. Thank you for your time. I have a complaint here that I filed with the police department and a handful of other complaints from the surrounding neighbors regarding nuisance noise from a specific residence on our street, excessive machinery noises, quads, dirt bikes, tractors, and other machinery, extremely unreasonable hours of the day, morning and night.
On a lot or adjacent vacant property?
It's on a lot.
Jeez.
And
In Hartwood, where did you say
Hartwood Farms,
Hartwood Farms?
Brook Street Court.
A tractor?
Riding mowers, dirt bikes,
Okay.
quads.
Curious, what times?
Sometimes it's early mornings, 9 a.m. After dark. In the summer, 9, 10 o'clock at night.
And they're on lots within the...
They're on a lot.
Did you just ride around the house?
Essentially, they have a strange shaped lot, which is very long, and they're essentially turning their backyard into, for lack of a better term, a BMX track, riding the dirt bikes and the quads. Again, it's unreasonable hours. And we filed a complaint. They rev the engines on these machinery.
We were told by our homeowners association that these people can ride the quads, the dirt bikes, and whatever they want because it is their property. We are in a plan of homes. There are a ton of little children there that go to bed early, they gotta get up for school the next morning. My husband and other people I know of that work shifts, these people, they get up early, they're out there on their quads, they're revving them, and we're talking quads. 2 in the back, tire in the front, 3 of them flying up and down the shore. And the only thing separating them from us is a driveway. That's it. So we get to listen to this from morning till night. They're not going to stop because they have the right to ride this because it is their property. I guarantee you that if you have a resident that lives in South Point that decides they want to get quads in their backyard, you're going to have them climbing all over you because the noise is horrendous. The smell, because it's gasoline, is terrible. I mean, and it's just, there is no rhyme or reason, and we have no law in place to stop them from doing this. I got told that it was their property, so they can do what they want.
I just wanted to ask a question, not of you, but of our chairman. Tom, didn't we face this like 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, off Lenape Lane.
Was it Lenape Lane?
Yeah, and Lenape Lane, and then we had Cecil Elementary School.
And did we ever pass an ordinance back then?
Yes, yeah, we have a sound ordinance, but each of those complaints is people cooperated. The ordinance seemed like it worked.
Okay, so we do have an ordinance on the books, is that correct?
We do.
Does it limit time or not at all?
It's,
Wasn't it decibel?
yeah, it's mostly noise.
Yeah, we have one. This was maybe before I was supervisor. This came up, and I think that it was decibels, and perhaps hours as well, or not. Do you
I
remember?
can't remember that word.
In particular, the hours are what we're concerned about because it's almost always after dark. And it seems like every time we sit down for dinner, we try to have a conversation with each other, or we sit out on a patio to have dinner, and they just start up all the time.
John, do you have a recollection of it?
If I could also add, I do have some photos and videos of them riding their quads on the residential streets.
Are they licensed?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so.
Are they required to be licensed now?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have that information, I'm sure all the officers probably talk to you. It's a process. If he took the photos, you'd have to go to the hearing, and I'm sure you wouldn't have a problem with that. But yeah, we can prosecute them. The unfortunate thing is we gotta identify the person. Since he may be seeing it, and I think you've been probably told all this, we have to make sure we name the person. And the best thing is always, and I'm sure the officers told you, call 911, get a record of it, especially if they do and can work on this ordinance. The noise, and I know, Mr. Chairman, we don't have a reader for that. So I think just that would be the whole issue to determine the pitch of the noise, but I absolutely agree is the hours. You know, that's what we need to shoot for the ordinance.
Right now, since we couldn't set decibel limits, it said excessive noise shall be required to be muffled so as not to be objectionable to surrounding property owners due to intermittent beat frequency, shortness, or volume. So I think when we used that on those couple of complaints we had, the people finally stopped what they were doing and decided to take their bikes to appropriate sites for that.
Was there a limitation on the hours?
No.
He has that question.
I can say that even if they're muffled, they're literally right outside of our windows on that side of our house. Anytime they do something, we hear it.
Have you tried talking to the neighbors? Or is that not an option?
In the past, we've spoken, and it's not an option.
Comments?
Part of the problem on that, and maybe the Board of Supervisors, someone could make a call, is, about 10, 12 years ago, I'm a quad owner myself. The DCNR said, hey, all you guys got to buy plates now and pay for insurance. If you do that, you're allowed to cross roads, you're allowed to access roads to move trail to trail, all that's legal. Everybody bought a plate. DCNR also said they're going to set places for us to ride our quads, in the eastern, western, middle part of the state. Where did they give us? Nowhere. I mean, basically, they made us buy these plates, pay for these plates for what? The DCNR fell through on this. So, I mean, from that perspective, as a quad owner, where do we ride it? In our yard? It's all we got, unless we know people with bigger amounts of private property, or, Hatfield McCoy's 5 hours down the road. Who can drive there on a weekend? I mean, you drive it to have a little, you get one to have a little recreation, so I sympathize with them, but I sympathize with him also with it being real loud right next door. Ultimately, the DCNR promised us somewhere to ride if we bought these plates.
But you have to go to the parks. You have to go to some of the parks that,
Not around here.
well, I know, but that's why,
They promised us one.
well, I bought 2 quads for my little grandson,
Exactly.
and there they got the plates. But you have to load them up and take them to like the national parks.
Right, like National Forest, 3 hours away. They promised us one.
In their yard and then go into the woods.
Yeah.
I hear you.
You can't really hear it. And I think maybe that's the difference.
That might be something that you guys could help with, get on the DCNR. Where's there a park located, central to like Pittsburgh, that isn't 6 hours away? National Forest, way up north, out to Ohio, going to Rumble on the Ridge, 3 hours down the road. I mean, everywhere is, how are you gonna get there?
Well, I was just telling him, people in my neighborhood have quads, dirt bikes. They start them up in their yard, they ride all behind. It doesn't bother me, partially because I grew up with it, but I think the difference is he's not starting it up and then going off into the woods, or starting it up and then riding up and down the street. They're riding specifically in their backyard, which are small.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the difference.
The chief.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Contact with those
I
people,
agree.
put all on his, he made the,
Obviously, he called 911, yes, so they spoke to him, and so it probably hasn't been resolved of every time we leave, I'm sure they probably get back on them again.
that's not what I asked. Did you have, does anybody from your department have contact with those people?
That's what I just said, yeah, so he called 911. Without looking at the reports, and I'd be happy to meet up with you and discuss all the reports, but typically, as I said, he's shaking his head, yes, we handle it, but then it's going to be continuing to go on.
But if you handle, they agree to stop, and then the cop goes away, then they just, you say they start up again, but do they sound like they're being cooperative?
I'd have to read the reports since I wasn't.
Let us look into that to see what kind of response they got first, and
And do come back next month.
I'm sorry.
Do come back next month, so it's not forgotten.
Thank you. And I'm not, just one more thing, I'm not against the use of them, especially for the kids, the recreation, but it's just the unreasonable hours. And again, our driveways meet, and they sit in the driveway and just make the awful noises.
it's just like we don't want somebody to have a horse on a quarter-acre lot. You wouldn't want your neighbor to have horses in his back quarter-acre lot either. So I'm not sure why we can't address it.
It's like catch-22. Where do you go to ride, but you can't ride because you have close neighbors?
Okay, anybody else?